For 7 years, people thought Daniel Cross had the perfect life. He ran a glass and steel empire in Manhattan, his name carved into headlines and donor walls, his calendar measured in acquisitions instead of days. At home, silence followed him like a shadow. His wife, Eleanor, moved through their penthouse quietly, as if sound itself might interrupt something important. Daniel spoke to her in schedules and apologies that never landed, kisses placed on air, conversations postponed until a future that never arrived. Eleanor learned to eat alone, to attend gallery openings alone, to celebrate birthdays with a single candle. Love didn't end suddenly. It thinned like oxygen at a high altitude until breathing became work. Eleanor wasn't weak, and she wasn't waiting to be saved. She began volunteering at a public arts foundation downtown, a place that smelled of paint and old wood, where children argued loudly about colors and no one cared who she was married to. That's where she met Marcus Hale, a philanthropist with a rival tech firm and an inconvenient reputation for sincerity. Marcus noticed what Daniel never did, the way Eleanor paused before answering questions, as if checking whether her voice still mattered. They spoke about art, about absence, about how loneliness can exist even inside luxury. Marcus never crossed a line, never touched her hand, but attention itself can feel like oxygen when you've been holding your breath for years. The moment that cracked everything open happened at a charity gala in Bryant Park, lights floating in the trees, a crowd tuned to spectacle. Eleanor arrived alone, wearing a simple navy dress, calm in a way she hadn't felt in years. Halfway through the evening, Marcus stepped onto the stage to announce a donation. Instead of applause cues or corporate slogans, he turned toward Eleanor and handed her a single bouquet of white lilies, thanking her publicly for inspiring the foundation's work. The crowd murmured, cameras flashed, and somewhere near the back, Daniel froze. He hadn't known she was attending. He hadn't known anyone saw her like that. The sight of another man offering her something gentle, something earned, sent a surge of heat through him that felt unfamiliar and frightening. Jealousy didn't roar, it sharpened. Daniel left the gala without speaking to anyone, driving too fast through streets he usually viewed as assets. For the first time, success felt irrelevant. He realized his absence had taught Eleanor how to live without him, and that knowledge terrified him more than loss. When he confronted her later that night, his anger collapsed into something raw. Eleanor didn't raise her voice. She told him the truth with surgical calm, that neglect is a decision repeated daily, and love doesn't survive being treated as optional. She said Marcus wasn't the problem. The problem was that Daniel had never chosen her when it mattered. What followed wasn't a grand gesture or a sudden transformation. Daniel stepped down from his role for 6 months, shocking his board and humiliating his ego. He began showing up in small, unglamorous ways, learning how unfamiliar Eleanor's inner world had become. Some nights she didn't let him in, some mornings she did. The marriage didn't reset, it rebuilt, brick by careful brick. In the end, Eleanor kept the lilies, dried and pressed into a frame, not as a reminder of another man, but as proof that being seen changes everything. Daniel learned that love ignored doesn't die quietly. It waits, and it demands to be earned back, if it can be at all.